Hi, my name is Xochitl Gaitan, and I'm proud to be the first Mexican-born president of the DPS Board of Education. And I'm a lifelong advocate for strong neighborhood public schools. Rooted in the same community in which I live and work in, I'm running for re-election because I am and will always be a public school champion. Being the union-endorsed candidate, I fight for teachers. I stand with families, and I have a proven record of navigating complex budgets and a board policy with our students' best interests at heart. As a grassroots leader and a mother of two DPS students, I've built trust by showing up. Parents know they can call with me with any concerns, and I'll connect them directly to the superintendent and the appropriate DPS team. And they will find the right solutions for the issue. Teachers feel comfortable reaching out to me. They know I'll listen and I'll bring the ideas to the board table. And with our Latino community leaders in Southwest Denver, I've worked to make sure that our underserved students have a strong voice in the policy decisions. I would be honored to continue to serve as your District 2 representative. And so to learn more about my vision and about my record, go to gaitanfordps.com, Gaytan 4, DPS.com. Thank you.
What are the top needs of the school district? How are Denver Public Schools doing educating kids across the city? What is going well and what is not going well?
With 90,000 students in DPS, half of them identifying as Latino, Mexicano, Chicano, and many bilingual or multilingual, one of our top needs is continuing to fund and strengthen our MLE, our multilingual education department. No matter the language they speak at home, every student deserves the tools to reach their goals and thrive in our public schools. The challenges we have are the deep federal funding cuts that hurt our ability to hire paraprofessionals and special education teachers. Closing neighborhood schools only to replace them with a charter a year later is also failing our communities. We need sustainable funding from our state as well as federally and a commitment to strong, accessible neighborhood public schools for every child in Denver. We also need to keep investing in mental health supports for students, families, and teachers. We know kids can't learn if their basic needs aren't met. And that's why our programs like the Latino Student Success, the Black Student Success Initiatives, as well as our community hubs throughout the city have been so effective. Those hubs provide food, clothing, GED classes for parents. We support the whole child. And we're seeing graduation rates increase in DPS history. We've taken those bold steps, and we've expanded mental health partnerships across the city.
This next question was submitted by a DPS student. In light of the recent Evergreen school shootings, how will you protect students from acts of gun violence? What measures or plans will you put in place?
As a DPS mom of a high schooler myself, the safety of our students is deeply personal to me. Every morning when I drop my son off at high school, I empathize with the families. I feel the same worry and the hope that every parent does, that our children will be safe, they'll be cared for, and protected from harm. The tragic shooting at Evergreen High School is a painful reminder that gun violence can strike anywhere, and it underscores why school safety must remain a top priority. That's why, as a board member, I voted to bring back SROs, school resource officers, in our middle schools and high schools. Before making that decision, we surveyed students, families, educators. The overwhelming response supported the return of SROs. We made it very clear, however, that SROs are not there to criminalize or police our students. Rather, their role is to build trust, foster the relationships, and work in partnership with our school communities. At the same time, we know that safety isn't just about security officers. It's also about meeting the mental health needs of our students. We need more trained mental health professionals, therapists, counselors, psychologists in our schools. We must expand that care so every student has access to it. And so my commitment is to ensure that our schools are not only secure, but places where the students feel safe every day. Thank you.
Can you explain where the money to fund our schools comes from? And what changes, if any, are needed to ensure that the district has the money it needs to deliver quality educational opportunities to all students?
As a parent and a board member, I know families want to understand where the money for our schools actually comes from. DPS is funded primarily through taxpayer dollars, property taxes, mill levies, bond monies, etc. Since about 1992, however, Colorado has operated under Tabor law, a constitutional amendment that caps how much revenue the state can raise and spend. And that cap directly limits how much funding each can reach each classroom. And so this means that even as costs rise and students' needs grow, our ability to invest in education is restricted. So truly to fund our schools, we need to work with legislators to reform Tabor and find a more sustainable way to financially support public education. At the same time, we can't wait on the state alone. We also need to pursue creative solutions, continue to build the strong partnerships DPS has with nonprofits, securing more grants, looking for alternative funding streams to help us provide those critical resources. Every child in Denver deserves a quality public education, and that starts with a district that has the funding to deliver it. Tabor reform, partnerships, innovation, that's what's really key here to build strong community public schools.
What K through 12 personal experience most impacts your views on education, and is it relevant today?
As a parent and a board member, I had to face the deep realities of school closure due to the fact that we are facing declining enrollment in Denver public schools. And this issue is a tough reality along with the over-charterization of Southwest Denver, gentrification, and segregation. But my focus has always been on protecting our neighborhood public schools and the public buildings. I worked with the superintendent and my colleagues to make sure that those spaces stay in the hands of district-run schools and not the charter buildings. Today, Summit Academy, a district-run middle school and high school, predominantly Latino, Mexicano, Chicano children, once learning in a small former bank building, now thrives inside of the Castro Elementary School building that we had to vote to close. And now they have a real cafeteria. Students have a real gym and a space that they deserve. That's the power of protecting public education. And it was a difficult debate and a difficult vote. And this meant everything to me to be able to protect our neighborhood public school buildings.
How do you see the role of charter and innovation schools in the DPS system? How should the board ensure that all schools, regardless of governance model, offer high quality and equitable opportunities?
As a board member of the DPS Board of Education in District 2, Southwest Denver, we have all three model schools within the DPS ecosystem, which are our district-run public schools, our charter schools, as well as innovation schools. And parents, through the school choice law, are allowed to choose which type model school that they want to send their children to. That leaves a big responsibility to the superintendent to ensure that he has relationships with the leaders of the different models. In the case of, for example, charter schools, he builds a consistent relationship and is in communication consistently with the charter school networks and their boards to ensure that there's conversation and discussion around what is expected academically, what is expected in terms of safety as well. And so that's very important to me to ensure that I'm checking in with the superintendent because we have all three model schools in my region, even though I do not represent the charter schools. I do find that parents in charter school communities and innovation school communities reach out, and I make sure that we're addressing whatever those needs and challenges may be. And we will continue to do so if I get reelected onto the school board to represent Southwest Denver. Thank you.
Your website states, "Let's focus on what works, smaller class sizes and recruiting great teachers." How do you propose doing each of those?
I believe that every single employee in our district deserves a true living wage. Over 4 years on the board, I've stood firmly for fair pay and better working conditions, because if we want to recruit and retain the best teachers and staff, we must show them the real respect that they deserve through the compensation. And I've made clear that I'm a pro-collective bargaining and committed to strengthening contracts for every bargaining unit. That's teachers, paraprofessionals, nutrition service workers, facility staff, school leaders. For me, this is not just about fairness, it's about sustaining a very strong, dedicated workforce for our students and our families. That's why I've pushed to make sure that any budget I support prioritizes fair salary schedules and a cost of living adjustment. While we know that there's national funding challenges that make this very difficult, I'll keep fighting for increased resources so that our employees are paid what they truly deserve. One example that I'm very proud of is working with the Coloradans for the Common Good and our paraprofessionals union alongside with Superintendent Dr. Marrero to raise the minimum wage for paraprofessionals to $20 an hour. These are highly skilled paraprofessionals who support our most vulnerable students every single day. And that change was about more than wages. It was about dignity and value. That's the approach I'll continue to bring to supporting every educator and staff member in our public schools. To my Southwest Denver community, I come to you not just as a leader, but as a parent. I've raised one son who graduated from DPS and another who is still in high school, so I know firsthand the hopes, the challenges of navigating our school system. I'm also proud to be a bilingual leader who can directly communicate with our Spanish-speaking families in their own language. Serving the Latino, Mexicano, Chicano community in Southwest Denver has been the greatest honor of my life. El most grande honor de mi vida. Above all, I'm a public school champion and the union-endorsed candidate. I've stood with teachers, with unions, families, and most importantly, our students to make sure every child has access to strong, well-resourced public schools. I've always stood boldly alongside our immigrant students, exceptional students, LGBTQ students, because they deserve action, not just words. And that's why I supported legal action against the harmful federal policies threatening our students, and why I connect families to advocacy groups like Advocacy Denver, and why I stood with East High School students when they demanded a gender-neutral bathroom for their safety and dignity. Our students deserve board members who will lead with both courage and compassion. I've done that and will continue to do so. Today, I ask for your support and your vote for re-election to the Southwest Denver seat. To learn more about my record and my vision, please visit gaitanfordps.com.